Hello, welcome in. Last minute executive decision, day 3 draft party. How's everyone doing? Probably not going to go super long today. I'm thinking as of right now, just kind of going through the Packers' first pick in round 4. And then I'll probably just hop off and kind of break down that pick. And we'll probably just take the rest of the day off to enjoy the draft and do videos after each pick. But I wanted to do a little bit of Q&A today and talk to you guys a little bit. Obviously, a pretty massive day yesterday with 4 picks. Green Bay's got 5 picks overall. Goody picked up 2 additional picks in round 5 and round 6. So today should be really interesting. We've got, I think Green Bay, specifically with Goody, is going to be a little bit more aggressive today in maybe moving up the board, specifically here in round 4. If I had to guess, my guess is that Goody's probably got somebody in his top 50, top 75, probably not 50, top 60, top 75 that's still on his board here. And I could see him being very aggressive with that pick, in round 4 with maybe some 5th or 6th rounders to get up, maybe 10, 12 spots into that 112, 113 range, and maybe pick somebody that he's still very high on. So would not be surprised to see Goody be aggressive here. But yes, more live draft coverage. Like I said, I'll take us up to the Packers pick in round 4, and then we'll go from there. But thank you so much for being here, guys. Obviously, it's been a very fun weekend. Had over 2,000 people in the Friday chat, had over 2,000 people in the Thursday chat, 1,600 people yesterday. Andrew, Maggie, Perry, everyone killed it. It's been a ton of fun, but you're stuck with just me today. Obviously, same things per usual. Super chats will go to the top. Try to get to members questions after that, and then we'll sort of open it up to everyone as we kind of go along here. Packers draft board. I did post it on Twitter today. All 5 of the Packers selections so far did come off the Packers draft board that I put together. That was specific to Green Bay. A lot of players still out there. One quick amendment to the Packers draft board. I would have put Spencer Rattler on there had I knew he was in for a top 30 visit. And quite honestly, had I just known that he'd be available on day 3, I probably would have put him on there anyway. But that's one name that I would add on there that's not. I would love Rattler in round 4. I think just get good quarterbacks. I think Rattler is the last good quarterback in this draft. I'm not a Pratt guy. I'm not a Milton guy. I think it's Rattler. And next year's draft class at quarterback looks very thin. And I get you're in a good spot. You've got Jordan Love. You don't need a quarterback. I think everyone's very satisfied with Sean Clifford being the backup. That's still a TBD. We don't really know a ton about Clifford, even if he's looked solid in some preseason play and solid in some training camp play. But operation get good quarterbacks. Always, always, always. I wouldn't have had any issue if somebody took Rattler in the 2nd round. So Green Bay being able to take a little bit of a luxury pick here in the 4th round, they hit so many of their needs in round 1 and 2, and then they still would have a crap ton of picks left in rounds 5, 6, and 7. I'm not saying it's necessarily like they have to or anything like that, but put me down as if they took Spencer Rattler here in round 4, would have no issue with it whatsoever. Jalen Wright would be super fun too. I would have no issue if they doubled down on running back. Sorry, I forgot one thing here. Forgot my beautiful. Let's see if this actually makes a difference. Oh, a little bit. Forgot my one other light. But yeah, so Jalen Wright would be fun to double down on running backs. There are a ton of good offensive linemen that are still left. These are guys that I had. There's guys that I had in the round 3 range on offensive line for Green Bay. Christian Mahogany is certainly one of those. Tanner Bordellini, Mason McCormick. But there's definitely some late 3rd round or late 3rd day guys too that I think could go to Green Bay. Cedric Van Pran is still out there, I believe. Donovan Jennings. There's another Kingsley out there that always has to be in play for Green Bay. They love their Kingsleys. Kingsley Agukakan, Dylan McMahon, Bo Limmer, Jalen Sundell, Nick Gargiulio. There's a lot of offensive linemen left that I still think can help this team. So if they went O-line here in round 4, that would be fantastic. But yeah, lots of options here. They've obviously doubled down on linebacker. I can't necessarily see them going linebacker again, but they wanted to take a swing at Cedric Gray. Lots of corners. Cam Hart out in Notre Dame. That was somebody I had pretty high on my list for Green Bay. Some safeties still out there. Freaking Jaden Hicks is still out there. Dadrian Taylor Demerson, Malik Mustafa. So Jalen Carley's who they had in for a visit. Lots and lots of players that are on the board here for Green Bay. Do you think we package some picks together to get an extra pick in the 4th or 5th? Definitely within the realm of possibility, but kind of like I said, I wouldn't be shocked either if Goody moved up here in round 4 to sort of the top of the draft. All right. I'm going to try to keep track of everything here as we go along. Jaden, I know Zach Cruz just tweeted he would trade up for Jaden Hicks. I'd have no issue with that whatsoever. I tweeted out too. Javon Bullard played a ton in the slot in college, and obviously Goody's talked about his versatility there. I don't think they're going to, and I think Javon Bullard is just going to rightfully be the starting safety next to Xavier McKinney. But if they decided to draft Jaden Hicks and allow him to play next to McKinney and put Bullard in the slot, there's a lot of really fun things that you could do with that as well. So I would not be against that. Thorben, greetings from Denmark. Go Pack Go. Hoping Sundell becomes a Packer. That'd be a fun pick for them, sort of late day 3 kind of pick. I saw this guy say if you play at Georgia, you are guaranteed an All-Pro. That'd be nice. Devontae Wyatt and Quay Walker certainly have not necessarily been a great example. I'm not saying they're bad, but they're certainly not playing like All-Pros. Eric Stokes would be another one. But listen, I really like the pick of Javon Bullard, and he should be a really, really fun player that can play a variety of different positions in Jeff Hafley's defense. So I see Jatavian Sanders went to the Panthers. It's a good pick for them. They can't get enough weapons right now to try to get the most out of Bryce Young as he's still developing as a quarterback. And I think we've got to trade up to Denver. Denver traded up for this pick 102. I know some people were surprised that Sanders went this late. I think this is right about the right range for him. Not a super freaky athletic profile. When I wrote him up, I said he's a little bit of like a gimmicky tight end in the fact that I think he would have fit well in Green Bay because all of like the bootleg stuff or some of the stuff where you get him in the flat, some tight end screens, if you set him up for success, he has such great straight line speed. I think he's like a 4.4 guy, but he has such great straight line speed that he's going to do some really fun stuff for you. This is a nice pick, by the way, for our nice draft for Carolina, getting Jonathan Brooks, Jatavian Sanders, and Xavier Leggett, all for Bryce Young. But he's a good player. I think he can do a little bit of the H-back stuff, obviously play some tight end. But I think this is always right around where Jatavian Sanders was going to go. This was not a great tight end class in any capacity. Speaking of which, though, I do think there are a couple tight ends. Theo Johnson from Penn State, if he were the pick there in round 4 for Green Bay, I wouldn't necessarily hate that. I know they don't have, again, a need at tight end, but he's a very Packers-y type tight end, super athletic. I think he could actually develop into a pretty good run blocking tight end. And you put him, as that number 3 guy. I know you have Ben Sims too, so sometimes there's a little bit of a, lack of return on investment here. You have Tyler Davis still on the roster, but if you get a freaky dude like Theo Johnson, that maybe you can unlock him and he can be a little bit of a blocker in the meantime, would not hate that pick either. AJ Barner's another one. Good call, Alan, from Michigan. He's another guy that projects as a blocking tight end in the NFL. I think he's only going to get better at it, and he can do some stuff as a tight end. He's kind of like a souped up Ben Sims, if you kind of think about it that way. Tiago, they will probably draft another safety, and who knows, Javon plays at nickel if Nixon can't deliver. It's all about versatility, and it's all about having options, and it's all about having outs. So the Broncos trade up from 121, giving up a 5th and a 6th. And they get 102 and a 7th. So that's the type of deal that you could be looking at for Green Bay. That's basically Seattle and Denver just put the blueprint together. Green Bay has plenty of 5th and 6th round picks. They're right around that spot where Denver just came from. And, Seattle picked up or Denver got a 7th round pick back in that as well. So if Green Bay wants to get up in this point in the draft, if they love somebody, 5th and 6th round picks is what it seems like would take to get up for Green Bay. And like I said, they might even get a 7th rounder back. Troy Franklin for Denver. I know Andrew Mertig had him super high on his board yesterday. I think he was in like the top 20. I thought the only thing that was lacking with Franklin is there was something that was just a tad pedestrian to his game. A part of that was like he just made the game look simple and easy, which is a good thing. I just kind of was left wanting a little bit more. There was almost a little like when I went back when I think back of watching Marquise Lee out of USC, he was always so natural, good route runner, good hands. He looked like the consummate professional wide receiver, but he was just lacking that special trait. Now, I know Franklin has speed for days, so there's definitely that he has going for him. But maybe it's just that he legitimately made it look simple, but he should have gone before this. This seems like a real steal for Denver. Really like this as an early pick 4. Obviously, the beautiful thing here too, teammate to teammate, right? Bo Nix, they get in the 1st round, Troy Franklin in the 4th. That's certainly an added advantage for Denver as well. And that should help Bo Nix acclimate into that position as what should be clearly the starting quarterback. Tim, thank you so much for becoming a brand new Pack a Day Podcast YouTube member. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, please make sure to do so. We just hit 300. And after this weekend, we are already getting close to 400, which is unbelievable. There was a question here. Here it is. Showtime. Any reason why Hicks or Tampa are falling? So the first thing on Hicks that I'll say, so how many safeties have we had go so far? It's not been a ton, right? Depends on what you view Cooper DeJean as. Obviously, the Packers took Bullard. I'm sure there's a couple other ones too. Let me see if I can pull up the safety list here. So we had Newbin go, Bullard, Cole Bishop, Kalen Bullock, Tyke Smith, and Cameron Kinchins. And if you look at this, DeJean, if you count him, Newbin, Bullard, Bishop went round 2. No first round guys, 3 third round guys. Now, I'd be lying to you if I said I'm not, that I'm surprised that Hicks didn't go ahead of guys like Bishop, Bullock, Tyke Smith, who I like, and Cameron Kinchins. I would have had Hicks well above those. In general, go look. There's still Justin Simmons is still available. Micah Hyde is still available. Like, there were really good safeties. Xavier McKinney was the only safety that got paid this year. All the other ones went super, super cheap. Like, safety might be almost reaching that running back territory of teams just aren't investing a ton in that position. So safety being devalued is a piece of why Jaden Hicks is still available. Add on to the fact that Jaden Hicks really, profiles as a box safety, not a too high safety, not a post safety, doesn't have that slot versatility. There's limits to his game. And when you have a position that's devalued and a player that has a very specific skill set that's going to play in a very specific style of defense, I think someone's going to get a stud if you can play him at that spot. But even Green Bay, who legitimately has a position for box safety, they still were looking for that versatility. So he's going to be a very specific flavor for a very specific team. And I think that's why he probably falls a little bit here. As far as TJ Tampa, I think the big thing is, I don't think he tested great, if I remember correctly. I'll pull that up here in just a second. Actually, I should have it. Oh, this is probably easier. But yeah, I'll pull that up in just a second. But I don't think he tested great. Now, I love the tape. I think he's a really fun prospect. You're sort of ignoring some of the limitations athletically. But I'd be remiss to say I thought he would go in like round 3, maybe even round 2. But round 3, I thought was probably his sweet spot. If he's a mid-round 3 guy and he goes early round 4 here at some point, that's not like this tragic fall by any means, but he should be off the board here any minute. And if not, that would be very, very surprising to me. Tampa is, 6.35 relative athletic score guy, only a 4.58 40. So remember how even Terrion Arnold, who's phenomenal at corner, fell in round 1 due to some of that deep speed. Tampa's even a step slower at 4.58. It's obviously not great. He didn't do the broad jump and the vertical testing, which maybe if he was afraid of doing that, maybe that shows some of the lack of explosion in his game. He did test well from an agility standpoint. He did have really good size, but I think probably just some of that deep speed limitations is probably what kind of limited him to probably being more of this early day 3 type of pick. All right. Got a super chat here from Wayne. Here for the roast from people that saw the Rattler tweet. Feels like 3 defenders from yesterday's rounds are said to have similar impact to the 3 offense from 23. Two of the second and third round picks. Got it. Yeah, no, first of all, I don't think I've seen anything from any Rattler hate in here as of yet. I could have just missed it though. But again, always take good quarterbacks, and I will have no issue with that whatsoever. I'm not saying that they should move up for him or whatever, but if he falls to their round 4 pick and maybe some guys like Hicks or whatever go off beforehand and he's just chilling there, they apparently had him in for a visit per Ian Rappaport. I think he's going to be better than a lot of the quarterbacks that are available in next year's draft. He's clearly the next best available quarterback in this year's draft for me. So I would have no issue with it. They're probably not going to do it, so we don't need to really go on too long about it, but I would have no issue with it. But yeah, it feels like they really got some big time needs addressed yesterday. These guys are going to come in and contribute right away, specifically Edgerrin Cooper. And even just going back to round 1, right? I do believe Jordan Morgan will start. Edgerrin Cooper is going to be your starting linebacker. Javon Bullard's going to be your starting safety. Marshawn Lloyd's going to be a rotational running back. I think he ends up running back 2 behind Josh Jacobs, and they get more of a playmaker at that position. And then we'll see what happens with Hopper, but he's immediately going to be a core special teams guy and has the ability to be and beat out Isaiah McDuffie as that number 3 linebacker. Very, very strong draft for Green Bay on day 2. Hicks will miss some tackles, but so will Mustafa and so will Dadry and Taylor Demerson too. So if anyone's hoping for Mustafa or Demerson, all those guys have a little bit of some coming up and tackling type issues. Yep, Pats took Landon Robinson from Texas A&M. Good call. Missed that one. Sorry. Who is the round 4 to 5 classic wide receiver that the Packers might take in this draft? I don't know. Jalen McMillan would have been the guy, but he went off the board late day 2 yesterday. Same thing with Luke McCaffrey, but he went out. I don't know. Franklin would have been another one if he was still there. Maybe a Javon Baker. Javon Baker could be somebody. He's just kind of like a smooth player. Speaking of sort of like lacking some of that dynamic playability, he kind of has that to his game. I guess I'll say Javon Baker, but where the draft is at right now, I think, and where Green Bay's depth chart is at right now, I think now you sort of see the wide receiver class fall off quite a bit. I think the real strength of where this draft is at right now is still at offensive line. There's some solid tight ends out there. There's still some solid running backs, still some solid defensive backs. I think you've got a couple linebackers left, Cedric Gray, Ulo Fashio, but overall offensive line is probably a position Green Bay should be attacking here sooner rather than later. Yeah. Is Tez Walker still out there? That would be another one. Absolutely. That'd be another one. I'm mad I didn't put Tez Walker on my big board. I don't know how that happened. I don't know Eric Weddle for a pro comp, but yeah, I mean, honestly, Bullard plays is a very similar size, speed, athletic ability to Darnell Savage. I just think you get what you were hoping for in Savage in Bullard, to be honest. If you remember back of when Savage was a first round pick and everyone was so excited about it, I think your ideal idea of what Darnell Savage was, Darnell Savage at his best, that's what I'm hoping you get out of Javon Bullard with more consistency than what you ever got out of Darnell Savage. Tiago, are there any good corners left? Cam Hart, we talked about. Kyrie Jackson's another one. I like Kalen Carson a little bit. Those are probably 3. Jaquan Shepard is a late round guy that I like for Green Bay. Omar Brown is probably a slot corner that they had in for a top 30 visit. There's a handful of guys left, but I would say Cam Hart is probably like your next step at corner. And then there's a little bit of a fall off after that. Yeah, Nehemiah Pritchard's another one I had on my list for Green Bay. Good call. Aaron, no. I will be optimistic about Stokes when I see him on the field playing at the level he's capable of playing at. We'll see what they do on today with drafting some corners. Obviously, they got a Carrington Valentine in the 7th round last year. We'll see if maybe Green Bay can find a steal. They found Sam Shields was an undrafted free agent. Tremont Williams, although not their own, was an undrafted free agent. They've done a pretty good job of identifying some of these guys. There goes Dadrian Taylor Demerson to the Cardinals at pick 104. Definite center fielder type. I thought Green Bay would have some interest in him because of the flexibility that he brings. I think, you just had Bullard probably rated at way ahead of him in round 2. But if they didn't get Bullard in round 2, I think there's a really good chance Demerson would have been a Packer yesterday at the end of round 3. I think it's within the realm of possibility, Vinny, but if it just depends on who falls. Like I said, if Javon Baker falls, Cornelius Johnson, Walker from North Carolina, Jalen Coker, Johnny Wilson could be in play there. There's definitely some guys that they could still be interested in, but it would not shock me at all if this was a 0 wide receiver draft. I'm with Troy. 2 or 3 offensive linemen today would be my guess. 2 or 3 more offensive linemen. Mason McCormick still being out there is a really interesting one. If he fell to Green Bay, that would be that might be kind of like my dream scenario right now, would be Mason McCormick falling to Green Bay's pick and them taking him there in round 4. Do you think Walker, the wide receiver out of North Carolina, is a possibility for the Packers? Yeah, I mean, he certainly has that deep speed. DJ Chark is, I think, a sort of comp in my mind for Walker. But if you want somebody with that deep speed that can take the top off of a defense and maybe a little bit of that Christian Watson insurance, yeah, I think you could absolutely be in play. Yeah, Samori's got a very tough fight ahead of him this season. Certainly, they would, I think, give him a practice squad spot potentially if he doesn't make the team. But I got to think right now he's wide receiver 8, and he's coming off a pretty big injury from the end of last year. He is going to have a really tough time, in my opinion, finding a spot on the 53. He's probably going to need some injury luck. And if you're Samori Toure, you're desperately hoping this is a 0 wide receiver draft for Green Bay. Because I just think Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Bo Melton, Malik Heath, and Grant Dubose are probably all ahead of him on the depth chart right now. I think you see Toure at number 8, and you still have, well, I guess Thyrick Pitts, I'm not going to say is in the conversation here by any means, but you still have 8 wide receivers on the roster. 9, and I think Samori Toure is pretty clearly on that number 8 spot again, especially coming back from injury. Nicole, I would give it a little bit of time. One of the things I know Ross Uglum was posting some things out. He had a really good 2022 season. That, his 2023 didn't quite live up to expectations. He comes from a really smart defense at the University of Missouri. He's an attacking player, going to be a core special teamer. Justin Ubiogi from Alabama, defensive tackle, 6'4", 297 guy. He just goes to the Chargers. But, I think let's give him some time. I think he has a real opportunity to win that number 3 linebacker spot. Am I right up for him prior to the draft? I legitimately thought, like, if Green Bay got out of day 2 of the draft, because I thought he was going to be like a 4th, 5th round guy. If they got out of day 2 of the draft and didn't draft a linebacker yet, he was somebody that I had as like, you could play him next to Quay and like feel okay about it as a starter for a little while. But if he doesn't have to be number 2 and he can be number 3 or number 4, that still is a really good spot for him. It's an aggressive pick at that spot. There's no question about it. I think Cedric Gray is, in my opinion, was a better linebacker that was still on the board. But I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. And I do think Rich Bisaccia gets a really strong special team player at that spot. Yeah, Oladapo could very much be somebody. I know Maggie Loney would be very happy with that. Obviously brought him in for a top 30 visit. He could be a safety at some point here in Green Bay. They double dipped at linebacker. They're definitely going to double dip at safety at some point. Again, Jaden Hicks still on the board. Malik Mustafa still on the board. Jalen Key. Jalen Carles is another guy they brought in, another Missouri guy that they brought in from a top 30 visit standpoint. Dominique Hampton is a very Packers-y type safety. Katan Oladapo. Chris Edmonds and Akeem Dent were guys they brought in for top 30 visits. Omar Brown, I talked about as a corner, but some people think he could be a safety. So they're going to probably go 1 or 2 more safeties in this draft, especially with all the guys that they brought in for top 30s. And don't be surprised too if some of those names I just mentioned, Akeem Dent is probably an undrafted free agent. Would think that he's probably high on their list. Same with Chris Edmonds. I think both of those guys are undrafted free agents and could very much be in play for Green Bay and undrafted free agency. Can McCormick compete with Myers? Yeah, I think McCormick has a little bit of center versatility. I think he's ultimately a guard, but again, I think you get these guys in that have the versatility. I think McCormick can play either guard and maybe a little bit of center. And best 5, if that means Zach Tom or Elton Jenkins in that center, you have the ability to do that and, sort of mix and match to make sure you get the Rubik's Cube in the right order and that everyone's in the spot that they're supposed to be in to build the best perfect 5 offensive line. But any of that versatility is super important for that line. Theo Johnson, the tight end I just mentioned as a potential Packers pick, just went off the board. I think he went to the Giants at 107. I don't know if we saw 106 yet. Yeah, so Theo Johnson at 107. Oh, Cedric Gray went to the Titans. So Cedric Gray went to the Titans. That's a really good pick for them. And then 107 was Theo Johnson. So we are Vikings on the clock. They didn't have any picks yesterday. So they got the quarterback in McCarthy. They got the big time edge rusher in Dallas Turner, sat out yesterday. And now this will be their first pick on day 3. So hopefully they screw this one up. Doesn't seem to me like we needed 13 picks in this draft. Do you think we should expect a lot of trade ups in the middle here? I'm hoping so. I've talked about this quite a bit. I talked about this prior to the draft, during the draft, on the draft shows. I have no issue whatsoever. I put this going into the draft with 31 locks to make the roster, which means you have 22 players that have to make the team that you want competition for, 22 open roster spots. If they take 13, 14, 15 guys to compete for those spots, I'm totally cool with it. The other thing too is like this is a little bit of a weaker like sort of end of the draft. If you have to cut a couple of those guys, like they had to cut with Lou Nichols and they had to cut with Grant Dubose last year, and obviously they got Grant Dubose back on the practice squad. But if you have to cut a couple of those guys, but it was worth taking the swings in the late rounds of the draft for, and you got a couple of those extra picks, that's fine. Nobody's going to look back at the 2023 draft with all the amazing stuff they did and been like, yeah, you know, Goot was great in 2023, but they cut Grant Dubose and Lou Nichols right away. So, you know what? Fail. You know, it's okay. And I think actually that's a really healthy thing to do is bring in those guys, get them in the room, let them compete. If you have to, like, guys, Darius Rush was a 5th round pick last year, 4th or 5th round pick. He got cut in, you know, after training camp last year. And then I think the Steelers picked him up, but the Colts cut him. Like, teams will cut draft picks, and that is okay. If they don't work out, if they weren't what you were expecting to, that's fine. But bring in a bunch of these guys, let them compete. 22 open roster spots, not even including injuries, not even including guys that you're going to add back to your practice squad. Go get talented football players and figure out the rest in training camp. Let's see. How many running backs will they draft? Any chance Dylan plays some fullbackish role like Kyle Juszczyk? I'm pretty anti Dylan as any sort of real fullback. If he plays any fullback, I think we're talking of a smattering of plays, 10 or less plays on the entirety of the season. I don't think they're going to like all of a sudden change him into a H-back or a fullback type player. I think he's still going to be a running back that maybe they try to be a little bit more, slightly more creative with, but no, he's not a Juszczyk type player at all. That's just not what he does well. He's not a blocker. He's just not. Even in some of those pony packages where they had Aaron Jones with Dylan as the blocker, he can get by a little bit, but that's definitely not his strength. So no, I don't see that. And I think there's a really good chance that they would potentially take one more running back, but probably not any more than that. Sundell would be a very nice pick at the end of day 3. Very Packers-y type. I like the Packers we have so far, but do you think the Packers got finessed out of the corners that they wanted? I don't know that this is a really strong corner draft. Here's what I will say. It is very clear to me that they were not going to take Terry Arnold. They were going to take Jordan Morgan. I don't know about Quinion Mitchell, if that would have been the same, but they would have had to move up for him. He went right around 20. So I don't know that they got finessed. They had the opportunity to take Cooper DeJean. They didn't. They had the opportunity to take Kool-Aid McKinstry. They didn't. I think Max Melton got picked before they picked. TJ Tampa is still on the board. Renardo Green and Jerrion Jones went round 3. I think they had the opportunity to take Jerrion Jones, if I remember correctly, a guy they had in for a top 30 visit. He, went end of round 3, but they had the opportunity to take him. Other than Max Melton early in round 2, I don't think there's anyone on their board that they got sort of finessed out of. This was not a super strong corner class. There are some guys still out there that I think could be in play, but they had opportunities to take Kool-Aid, Cooper DeJean, TJ. They still have the opportunity to take TJ Tampa. Could have moved up if they wanted to for Arnold or Quinion Mitchell. Cam Hart is still out there. Jerrion Jones, they had the opportunity to take. They had the opportunity to take any corner that they wanted, basically, and they didn't. So I don't think they got finessed. This was a choice on their part, and whether that's that they trust Nixon and Valentine and Stokes, that could be it. Or maybe they just didn't like this class all that much, which in a way I sort of understand. All right. Kyrie Jackson to Mini. That's a fine pick. I liked Kyrie Jackson. Let me see. I think I have some notes on Jackson here. I think you can find a role for him, especially against bigger wide receivers. What I would consider a rotational quarterback, and with the right matchup, he could be very useful. Good blitzer off the edge, just has too big of a hitch when flipping his hips and isn't agile enough to stay with quicker and better route running wide receivers. Good luck sticking with the Packers wide receivers, Kyrie Jackson. Decent pick there, but not anything you're going to be super afraid about if you're the Packers. You know what, Tyree? Let's see how these corners play in Jeff Hafley's system. Forever now, everyone's been saying that Joe Barry is wasting Jair Alexander and wasting Eric Stokes and maybe to a lesser extent wasting Carrington Valentine and the way that those guys should be playing. All right, let's see. Let's see if this was a Joe Barry issue or let's see if this was a corner issue. Maybe it was a little bit of both, but let's see how Jeff Hafley uses these corners. And like I said, Green Bay's had some success in the past of finding some late round and undrafted corners that have been able to come in and help. I don't think, again, Carrington Valentine just a 7th rounder a season ago. So just because they don't have one yet doesn't mean that they can't find. TJ Tampa's still out there. He'd come in and compete right away if they wanted to take him. So let's just see what they do still. And like I said, let's see how these corners play under Jeff Hafley in a little bit of a different system. Yeah, Cedric Van Pran, I'd be all over. To me, he's a center, a little bit of guard versatility, but let's bring in some competition for Josh Myers. And I know you kind of have it inherently in a Zach Tom and in an Elton Jenkins that they can play there, but man, give me some more competition. And I think Van Pran would come in and give Josh Myers everything he could potentially handle as a starting potential center. Stokes is primarily considered a man cover corner, even press man. You know, theoretically, if he still has his 4.3 speed, right? This is a guy that gets up, jams you at the line of scrimmage, big, tall, physical, long arms, and then has the ability with that 4.3 speed. If you get by him, if you get a clean release, he's got the recovery speed. Think back to that Jamar Chase play against Cincinnati. What was that? 3 years ago now. It feels like forever. Jamar Chase just beat him clean off the line of scrimmage. And Stokes got bailed out a little bit by a bad ball from Burrow on the play. If Burrow's on time and leads them, it's just going to be a touchdown. But most corners aren't catching back up with Jamar Chase on that play. And Stokes just used that 4.340 speed just to get back there, knocked away the pass, beautiful pass breakup. And that's what he has the ability to do. So yes, press man corner, use the physicality. If you miss, you've got that 4.3 speed to catch up. Now, here's the big thing with Stokes. If with all the injuries that he has, he's now a 4.5 40 guy, 4.6 40 guy. He has to change his game entirely. And he didn't look like the same speed coming back from injury. That could have been a little bit of rust last year, but that's going to be the big question for Eric Stokes is just how much of that supercharged 4.340 speed does he still have left after all the injuries? Dorless to the Falcons. That's a good pick for them. They needed some pass rushers. I think they got one already. They get Trice at the end of day 2. I want to say Trice, but they get Dorless and Trice. Dorless reminded me a little bit of like Colby Wooden, a little bit of, Colby Wooden, I think was the one that he kind of reminded me of a little bit, but I think you're going to play Dorless on the edge more than what Colby Wooden did. Javon Baker to the Patriots. So that was one of the receivers we mentioned. They are now off the board, or he's now off the board. Did not watch Nelson Caesar, C-Mart. Sorry about that. Don't have any major takes here. I would stay away from both Trey Flowers and Eli Apple. Very not ideal. So remember, they're going to take a corner today, right? I would be shocked. I would be shocked. They're probably going to take one, maybe even 2 corners today. You have a pretty good group of corners that at least is like ready to step in and play right now. In my opinion, this is my Jair's your 1, Valentine's your 2, Nixon's your slot, Eric Stokes is up off the bench, and then you have Corey Ballantyne after that. And then your 6 would probably be someone like Robert Rochelle today, who's going to be like your special teams guy and in case of emergency type guy. So that's your 6, in my opinion. If you had to go out and play today, that's not terrible. You have a slot guy, you have a star in Jair, and then you've got 2 guys in Eric Stokes and Carrington Valentine who are going to have to fight it out tooth and nail for that other starting position. And you have Corey Ballantyne who can step up. The loser of the Stokes-Valentine battle is on the bench as a backup. It's not dire. Would you like competition? Yes. Would you like some high-end improvement, which they clearly didn't get in free agency or the day 1 or 2 of the draft? Yes. But you're not in dire straits. You still have good corners, but this is definitely... And the other thing too, guys, you can't fix everything, right? If they would have taken, let's just say in round, I don't even know, what are we talking about here? In round 3, they maybe took Jerry and Jones at corner. And then, in round 2, I don't even know. I guess maybe instead of Edgerrin Cooper, they took Kool-Aid McKinstry. We're talking about them not having the linebackers that they need or not having the running back that they need. You can't fix everything in 5 picks. So there's going to be something that still needs to be addressed. We'll see how they address it today. And like I said, they have had some success in getting some corners in the past in day 3 in an undrafted free agency. Yes. And great point, Kevin. And you have a safety over the top that's going to clean up some of the messes at a level that they have not had since Nick Collins. So you know what, if you are going to play some press man and some of those guys get beat sometimes, the hope is that with the speed of Javon Bullard and the playmaking of Xavier McKinney, they have the ability to erase some of those mistakes and make some of those corners look even better. Jaden Hicks is not gone yet, unless he's gone in like the last pick that's been leaked and I haven't seen it yet. Packers are on the clock. Packers traded up. All right, we got to trade up. I'm going to tweet. My guess is probably 5th round pick here to get up. This is exactly what I mentioned, guys. I thought Goody would be aggressive at this point in the draft. Is this the quarterback? Just kidding. Probably not. But quarterback's on the board. TJ Tampa's on the board. Jaden Hicks is on the board. Austin Booker was a guy they brought in for a top 30 visit. At edge, Mason McCormick, Tanner Bordolini. What else? Jalen Wright's still here. Ray Davis, the running back. I don't know if they double up at running back this early. Cam Hart, the corner, would be somebody. Malik Mustafa, the safety. Interesting options here. It is in front of the Raiders. It is in front of the Raiders, which is interesting from a quarterback standpoint. They traded with the Jets. That's interesting. Let's see if we get any leaks here. I'm going to be kind of on the top of it. Nothing yet. Anyone got anything? Somebody said Mustafa. Somebody said Oladapo. Could easily be those choices. I don't think anything's confirmed as of yet. Austin Booker, a guy I really, really like. Really, really like. It's not, we don't know yet, by the way. I would love Spencer Rattler. I know it would be chaos, especially trading up. Hey, when Green Bay trades up for quarterbacks, good things happen. Did they trade up for, they didn't trade up for, a pick is in for Green Bay. I don't think they traded up for Brian Brohm, did they? Is it Tampa? Is it Tampa? If it's Tampa, is it Tampa? No way. No effing way. I haven't seen anything yet. Tampa is leaked. I still haven't seen it. This would be freaking amazing. Guy had his day 2 on my board. It's Tampa. You guys are way ahead of leaks. I need to get a better leak page apparently on my on my notifications. Wow. Let me see. Pull up my TJ Tampa. 126 and 190 for 111. So they give up what is that? A 6th round pick? This is so freaking fun if they got TJ Tampa here, which is, I believe all of you guys. I don't think all of you guys are lying. Where is my TJ Tampa? Oh yeah, he's way higher on my list than TJ Tampa. He is sticky with everything. Tall, physical corner with good agility. Didn't test great, but had some up to 21 miles per hour plays in college. So when you look at the testing, don't necessarily trust it. His play speed was really, really good. Has a basketball background, recruited as a wide receiver. So he has all those ball skills. Still learning the nuances of the position, but his best play should still be ahead of him. Those are just some of the notes that I had. This is freaking awesome. How is it still not leaked on anyone on my page? Like, I've been getting the leaks for everyone else. And this one is not gone yet, or is not said yet. This is honestly one of the best values of the draft, in my opinion, getting TJ Tampa at this spot. You guys were just talking about it. You were just talking about it. You corner. They haven't addressed corner. Troy, let's go. Let's go. They haven't addressed corner. They get it on round 4. They get a guy that, to me, if they would have taken, like, this is another example, right? We talked about what if they took Edgerrin Cooper on day 1 and then Jordan Morgan on day 2. For those that maybe weren't as happy with the Morgan pick, we're probably fine if we look at it that way. All right, maybe people weren't happy with the Hopper pick on day 3. What if they would have taken TJ Tampa at the end of round 3 and then Hopper in round 4? Would anyone be upset? No. These are the way these things go sometimes, and it's totally fine. They get a phenomenal player here in round 4. See, SDN 40 was all over it the entire time. Coot is cooking. How is it not leaked from anyone on my entire feed yet? This is beyond insane. This is a very man corner as well in TJ Tampa, who's going to be able to play within this style of defense. I think he's an outside corner a little bit more. All right, so PFF is reporting it. Man, this is such a great value pick in round 4. You talk about last year doing work on day 3 of the draft and Dontavian Wicks and Carl Brooks and those guys. Man, this is one of my favorite like day 3, like early day 3 picks that Green Bay's had in some time. You can tell. Look at how happy Goody is. Look at how happy Goody is. That's like the most I've seen him smile. Matt LaFleur's fist pumping people. Where's Jeff Hafley? Jeff Hafley's probably running, sprinting around. I think he's there right there. But he's probably sprinting around in the concourse somewhere. Oh my goodness. Meanwhile, Damian Lillard suffered a strained Achilles and is in a walking boot, and there's doubt over his availability in game 4. The Bucks are so cooked, man. We don't care. TJ Tampa's a Packer. But man, that is brutal for Milwaukee. We get this selection. This is the only pick in the entire draft that is going up on my TV screen before it was tipped on any of the leagues that I had, which is unbelievable. But TJ Tampa, Iowa State, what more could you possibly want? Yeah, I did see Jeff Hafley on the phone. I'm not like, just announce the pick, guys. They gave up, what did we say earlier? It was, I tweeted it out. It was, sorry, wrong account here. Wait, it wasn't TJ Tampa? Are you kidding me? Apparently that's why it wasn't leaked. You guys messing with me? Oh my goodness. Holy crap. You guys messed. What the hell just happened? That's why I was like, it was not leaked. Holy cow. I have Evan Williams. Just to be totally transparent, I did not watch, but I am. What just happened, guys? I guess that's why I did not have any leaks on my end of TJ Tampa. That is unbelievable. Was like this just the room that was messing with us? Now I'm very interested. All right, now I got to look up like TJ Tampa. I do not know what just happened in life. That was very disappointing, guys. Thank you very much, jerks. I see a lot of please TJ Tampa's. I don't know that like any of it got released. Where did you guys see it? Where did you guys see TJ Tampa? That was quite the emotional roller coaster. Wow, that was an interesting turn of events. All right, let's look up some. That was really, really crazy. I did not have Evan Williams on my list either. Oh no, I did have him on my my draft board. I take that back. NFL says Evan Williams. That was definitely Evan Williams. PFF Packers tweeted Tampa. All right, man. Well, that was interesting. Let's read up on Evan Williams. We can experience this together. I'm gonna have to do a full regroup of like how we got to TJ Tampa. Evan Williams, 15th rated safety on Dane Brugler's big board. Strengths, plays with a physical, rugged demeanor, quick to trigger as a run defender, and drives his pads through the belt buckle of his target. Widens out and sinks to maintain his balance as a tackler. Competitive urgency, doesn't take any plays off. Strong football IQ to decipher moving parts and focus on his keys. Alert to underneath zones and crossers and takes decisive angles to the catch point. Has the athletic footwork to match up with the tight ends and backs in coverage. Had a high success rate as a blitzer on tape. Active on special teams, 466 career snaps. Another core special teamer here for Green Bay. Has a blocked punt, a blocked extra point attempt on his college resume. NFL scouts say he has a good head on his shoulders and his personality will fit in well with NFL locker rooms. Average size, compact frame with below average arm length. Struggles to find another short-armed player. They are going for short-armed kings here in this draft. Struggled to find the football once his back is turned to the quarterback. Should have had a game-ending interception versus Washington in 2023. Not as confident in his reads from deep alignment. His long speed and over-the-top range are only average. Disappointing ball production his junior and senior seasons. 5 passes defended, 0 interceptions over his last 23 games. Races outside. Turn the page to, what did I miss here? races outside to win the corner, opening a backdoor for cutbacks. MCL tear in his left knee in 2022, missing 4 games. Right hand injury in 2023 that caused him to miss 1 game. Re-injured his hand and wore a bulky right club for the final 3 games. A 1-year starter at Oregon, Williams was a versatile safety in their balanced scheme. After 4 years at Fresno State, he transferred to Eugene for the 2023 season and led the Ducks in tackles, finishing his college career with 45 starts. Although he has the size of a free safety, Williams has the mentality of a box safety with disciplined run support and eagerness to drop the hammer. Though he reacts well to front-facing throws, he has a tough time locating the ball downfield, and his coverage busts lead to big plays for the offense. That's not great. Overall, Williams doesn't have playmaking instincts in the deep half of the field, but he's an energetic field presence with a trigger and toughness that are easy to appreciate. He projects as a backup strong safety and core special teamer in the mold of a Loki Gilman, 5th or 6th round pick, 15th overall safety on his big board. Hicks is definitely a bit of a question mark here as to why they maybe wouldn't go Jaden Hicks as more of like a box safety. I wasn't a huge Malik Mustafa fan, so I don't necessarily count that necessarily as much against them. Katano Oladapo was still there. Would not have surprised me if they went Oladapo in front of him. But I'm going to be not one to quickly judge because I haven't watched him on tape yet. So I want to see a little bit of Evan Williams on tape before I make any big declarations here. Evan Williams, let's see. That was Zach Cruz. We read some of that already. Ravens took Tez Walker out of UNC a pick later. Tight end Eric All Jr. to the Bengals. Decamarion Richardson to the Raiders. So a couple picks there that went right after. Did Jaden Hicks murder someone? Okay. I need somebody to tell me how we got to TJ Tampa. Did anyone do a deep dive yet? Because that was crazy. I guess I should trust that, because the leaks didn't come through. I shouldn't have even said anything in chat, but you guys have been all over it the entire freaking week. I wasn't doubting you guys at all. So did anyone figure it out? Oh, so somebody saw it on a PFF live stream. All right. Oh, the NFL Draft Diamonds had it as well. Remember, friends, always trust the big accounts on the leaks. Don't necessarily go with the second ones. But NFL Draft Diamond sounds like PFF maybe had it as well. But that's crazy. Again, guys, let's take a hot second and figure out again. Let's see what he can bring to the table. These are 4th round picks, 5th round picks, 6th round picks. Evan Williams, quote, "I have great instincts. I'd like to consider myself intellectual. I could play safety or true boundary. Other teams have asked me about versatility and playing in the nickel. Had a virtual visit with Green Bay." From Zach Cruz, 5'11", 206, 22 years old, Fresno State transfer, 45-game starter, over 300 career tackles, 2-time All MWC, 1-time All Pac-12, 4.59 40, almost 500 career special team snaps, blocked and punted an extra point. Dane Brugler's 15th ranked safety. Did we get an RAS for Evan Williams, or did he not do the testing? .82 relative athletic score. 39th percentile height, 55th percentile weight, 80th percentile bench press, 96th percentile vertical, 87th percentile broad jump, 4.640 was in the 53rd percentile, 93rd percentile short shuttle, 49th percentile 3-cone. Very Packers-y type safety, no question about it. Like I said, he was on my big board of players as well. All 6 players now for Green Bay have been on Green Bay's big board that I put together prior to the draft. So this is, again, very, very, very sneaky Packers type safety. Ross said he wasn't super high on him, but says he's a great run defender and a true box safety. Again, gives him some versatility. I'm shocked Jaden Hicks is falling this far. I would have definitely gone, more Jaden Hicks in that range. And then, like I said, maybe paired him with or had the ability at least. Oh, Tony Khan still got the neck brace on. I love it. Jaden Hicks at box safety. And then, of course, you've got Xavier McKinney over the top, and then you could use some Bullard in the slot. But this is going to give Green Bay more options. There's a chance with a 4th round pick that Williams gets his name in that same conversation. And then you could try to maybe use Bullard in the slot, especially if Nixon doesn't go well. But if, Evan Williams is going to have to earn that spot too. Anthony Johnson Jr. will be in the mix, but they now doubled up on a couple of their really big time players. The other thing I'll note here, Green Bay moved up to get this guy, right? So they clearly liked him and did not want him to fall any further. Now, whether or not they would have had to do that and so on and so forth, that's another conversation, but they clearly really liked Evan Williams enough to trade up using a 6th round pick to go get him. So we will see. I'm excited to watch some tape. I wonder if I can pull up. I can't pull it up on screen, obviously, but I'm going to pull up some all 22 of Evan Williams. I'm going to break it down live on chat. Let's freaking do this. All right. I need to search Evan Williams. Evan Williams, safety, Oregon. Had 114 key plays a season ago. Let's bring up what game should we watch here, guys? See him play against they said they had a dropped interception against Washington, right? Let's take a look at the Washington tape against Michael Penix from last year. I need to get the sideline view here, not the end zone view. Number 33. Actually, I'm going to look some end zone here first. All right, so he's lining up in the box, goes out in the flats, and misses a tackle on the running back. That's not a great start. All right, box safety here. Makes the read on the run and misses the tackle on the running back. All right, we're off to a great start. 2 missed tackles to begin with. Box safety, rolls right, close to the wide receiver. Made a play, good contested catch on the ball. Makes the tackle immediately. All right, let's see. Run defense. Shoots into the gap, misses the tackle on the running back. So we got 3 missed tackles in our first 4 plays that we're viewing here against Washington. Decent coverage on the tight end. Oh, did they throw a flag on it? Yep. Pass interference, Evan Williams. This is a fantastic start to the Evan Williams tape. This is real time, guys. I'm not cherry picking plays one way or the other. All right. So deep crosser, he identifies it quick, gets over, makes the quick tackle. Decent play there. All right. Next up, deep safety. This is the play. Oh yeah. Ugh, that was ugly. So he's in deep safety, cover 2. We are 33-29 against Washington. 2:11 left on the clock. Penix throwing deep to his left. He's going deep down the field. I can't tell which wide receiver that is. I think that's Polk. But corners in coverage. He should have been over this. If he just gets his head turned, he picks it off. And he doesn't even make a play on the ball. That is an ugly, ugly, ugly play. All right, so those were the 6 key plays from Washington, which was very bad. 3 missed tackles. And a very poorly played deep ball in cover 2. Let's go against, let's do conference championship against Washington, 13 plays. Let's see if his conference championship tape against Washington was better. Here he's got the big club on his hand that we talked about. Takes on a block, goes and makes a play on the running back. All right, that was better. He's blitzing off the slot, run defense, takes on 2 blockers, gets to the outside. That's fine. Nothing spectacular there. Third play, conference championship, run defense, gets in the mix, nondescript play. Don't know why they counted that one. So basically, what I have here is all 22, and in every single game, this service gives you the key plays, like the ones that he was involved in that were like actually affected him in the game. So it basically erases out all the stuff where he didn't have anything to do on the play or like wouldn't have graded in any significant way. So I have just his key plays from every single game. So that's what I'm watching right now. So 2nd and 5, down by 10 in the conference championship game. This one I'm going to need the outside view for. He is going in deep safety. All right, run stride for stride with the receiver down the slot. That's a good play. All right, outside corner, or he's in the slot here, matched up with Jalen McMillan, and he got absolutely toasted on a double move. Absolutely toasted on a double move. He is matched up with McMillan in the slot. Wait, where do we go here? Hold on one second. Got to make sure. So he's playing there. Okay, there he is. All right, so he's outside in the slot. bites on the double move and just gets absolutely roasted. Michael Penix overthrew it. That's your number 8 overall pick in the draft, missing a wide open double move for a touchdown, but he completely bit on it and left McMillan wide the hell open. All right, that's not great. Box safety here on the next play. Blitzes, takes on the running back, gets good pressure, didn't get through him, but basically rammed the running back right back into the safety, or running back right into the quarterback, excuse me. All right, he's playing the run, takes on the tight end, couldn't get off the block. He gave good effort, but couldn't get off of it, ends up in a rushing touchdown. All right, what do we do here? 33. It's easy to identify him with the big club on his arm, at least. Sorry, I'm not active in the chat. I'm just going to do a couple games of this, guys, and then I'll get back in the chat. All right, so late to get to a crossing route. I don't know if you thought that the safeties were going to switch, but it didn't look like either safety were really trying to switch. So he was definitely late getting over on that crossing route. This is not super encouraging so far, guys. All right, on the blitz, gets a pressure, but misses the sack on Michael Penix. Should have had a sack, but Michael Penix sidesteps to the right and makes a miss. Ends up being just a throwaway instead of what should have probably been a sack. All right, takes on the wide receiver, goes make the play in the running game. All right, nice play there. Blitz off the slot in the run defense, goes and makes a hit on the running back, but should have wrapped up. Running back probably got an extra yard or two because he didn't go up and actually wrap up. Playing on the outside here. All right, where did he go? Oh, there he is. All right. Quick completion to McMillan on the outside on 3rd and 4. He got matched up in the slot, and I don't know, that's a tough play for him to make. It's a big ask. All right, blitz is inside on a run play. Really nice play there. So on this play, he's blitzing on the inside and he gets pinned inside from the wide receiver. He spins off the wide receiver, gets back outside, makes a great play. It makes a swipe at the football. The running back did a nice job of holding onto it, but it actually brought him down. Otherwise, it probably would have been a much bigger gain. So that was actually a big play. We'll look at one more group, but so far underwhelmed would be probably a good word to use it. All right, he's got 10 plays against Washington State. Let's see what is his best tape. So, Washington State was actually his best tape, 10 plays. Let's look at this. Let's hopefully we get some good stuff from this one. All right, let's see. Where is he? There he is. Wide receiver screen on the outside, goes and makes the play. All right, good play there. He's lined up in the slot against the slot wide receiver. Probably should have been completed. Not bad coverage from the safety, but not ideal. All right, next play. Ranges over from safety, goes to make a play on the running back, doesn't wrap up, tackles high, lowers his head, and the running back bounces right off of him. That's not great. Goes and makes a play, and the wide receiver screen immediately comes up, attacks it aggressively. That was good. Oh, that was a sick route from the wide receiver. All right, makes the tackle there. Wide receiver gave him a ridiculous shake in the passing game. Williams bought it hook, line, and sinker, but he got back involved and immediately made the play, probably like a 5-yard gain. Good tackle in the open field. All right, we got 5 more plays, and then I'm going to hop back in the chat, guys. Assuming the chat's still going, I can't even see. I might just be talking to myself at this point. Please be something good here. All right, so he's playing deep safety. He's playing the post. It's the first play we've seen of him playing in the post. Quarterback throws deep right side. He ranges over. Didn't quite have the speed to get there, but he gets there at the end and sort of comes in and still forces the ball out on the play. It ends up being incomplete. That's a pretty decent play. Would have maybe liked to see him get a little bit more speed there. All right, 4 more plays here, guys. Box safety, ranges over, makes a really nice play on a slant, crushes the wide receiver. That's good. Playing in the box here. Goes and gets after the quarterback and makes a sack. All right, that was good. It was more of like a rollout play, and the quarterback should have just thrown the ball away, but he got the sack. We'll give him credit for that. Quick wide receiver out. Williams is all over it. Very quick tackle. And same thing, very quick out. Wide receiver makes a good move, and Williams all over it, makes a really good tackle there. So I guess my takeaway just from that would be pretty underwhelming. All right, let's see. Where's my chat? There's my chat. What did I miss? But that's what I was just kind of looking at in Williams' tape. Obviously, we'll go over it in more detail. That was my first opportunity to look at him. Looked okay as a blitzer. The one play in the deep center was okay. I would have, like I said, maybe seen a little bit more speed on the play. Missed a lot of tackles. Needs to really wrap up a lot better. Lowered his head and tried to maybe lower a hit rather than actually wrapping up and having a form tackle, which is a very Green Bay type of thing to have happen, unfortunately. Was okay in coverage. From a safety standpoint, it looked like good enough where, like, I don't know that you want him lining up in the slot as like a primary slot guy, but if he's back at safety and you're going to bring Keyshawn Nixon off the edge as like a blitzer and you need Williams to go and play the slot for a little bit, I think you can get away with that. But like I said, not super sexy on the first glance, but that was only a few games. There's a lot more tape to watch, and we'll see if maybe he, again, some of these guys like Hopper, I know his 2022 tape was much better than 2023. So there could be some things like that too. He was at the Senior Bowl practice, so maybe he shined there. We'll take a look at everything. And see kind of how he plays out. Like I said, we're going to deep dive. I'm going to watch every single play for all of these guys. I'm going to watch everything. I promise you. And then we'll do deep dives into these players and kind of go over the biggest strengths, biggest weaknesses. Because the truth is, like, no matter what draft pundit you're listening to, myself included, like when you're trying to prep for the draft, you're watching 3, 4, 5 games. In this case, again, I didn't even get to Evan Williams, but you're watching, a handful of games and plays for these players. And because you have to, you can't, if you want to prepare for everything, you can't be a master at all of it, right? When we dive into these players, we will be watching everything: Senior Bowl practices, Shrine Game practices, their junior tape, their senior tape, their sophomore tape. We'll watch everything, and we'll then make our, overall assessments based off of that. But we will be taking deep dives into all of these players. All right. Any question? Anything I missed while I was out? Let's see the draft picks that I missed while I was out. Let's go back to Draft Tracker. All right, so we had Evan Williams, 111, Decmarion Richardson, 112, Devontae Walker, 113, Javon Foster, 114, Eric All, 115, Jordan Jefferson, 116. Bortolini went to the Colts at 117. That's a good pick for them. He's a very Indianapolis Colts type. They love their athletes too. Tyrese Knight at 118. Mason McCormick just went 119 to the Steelers. Really nice pick. The Steelers have had a very nice draft. All right, friends, any final questions? That's probably going to do it for me. I'm going to do a quick quick little view of Evan Williams and then do a quick video on him as a recap. And then I'm going to be doing, obviously the recaps after each round. But any other questions before I get out of here, guys? We got another trade. Green Bay's not back on the clock, are they? I was going to say I'll have to stay for a couple more minutes. I am married, Mr. Yuji Vang. Very much. I'm sorry to ruin anyone's hopes and dreams. Braylon's definitely getting drafted. I did not expect Braylon Allen to be gone by now. Not at all. Who is better coming out of draft, Quay or Edgerrin Cooper? Edgerrin Cooper for me. Edgerrin Cooper for me all day, every day. But Quay was a really good athlete too. Eagles traded up. All right. All right. Well, we'll see what they do in round 5, everyone. Appreciate you guys all coming in again. 1,000 people in the chat. I feel bad leaving with 1,000 people in here. If you guys want to chat Packers, I'll give it maybe a couple more minutes. Baby QB Goot needs to explain himself. I don't think he needs to explain anything at this point. Let's see what let's see what these players become. This is the start of the process, guys. And everyone has their tape. Yes, take on players. Would I have loved Jaden Hicks there instead of Evan Williams? I don't think the tape is even close, quite honestly. We don't know if Jaden Hicks has an off-field thing, an injury thing, if they found something on tape with him or something in their eval of him that they think is going to be, a detriment to what he's going to be able to do in the NFL. It's really tough to tell exactly what they're thinking. Like I said, do I think there were maybe some better players out there on the Hopper pick, on the Evan Williams pick? Even maybe on the Jordan Morgan pick, sure. But overall, I love the Edgerrin Cooper pick, right? I understand the Jordan Morgan pick. I love the Javon Bullard pick. Those are all very good. Really like the Marshawn Lloyd pick. Hopper, I'm willing to give. That's one of the players I'm most excited to go back and watch a little bit more. The Evan Williams quick deep dive, the 3-game watch was not super impressive, but I'm willing to let things go for a little bit and let's see what the rest of the tape looks like. But I love that they attacked 2 safeties in the draft. I love that they attacked 2 linebackers, 2 of their biggest positions of need. And let's just see how these players turn out. I do believe Jaden Hicks does have ACLs. I was not a big Johnny Wilson guy, but I could see why a lot of people like him. Bears traded up. Oh, so PFF was the one who messed up and reported it. That's so interesting. They're not even a reporting group. Seahawks draft tight end AJ Barner. It's a good pick for them. What did how do we have such little faith in Goody and staff given what we've seen them do developing this roster? Fascinating takes here. It's about projections. I will just say this. You guys know how much tape that I watch and how much I dig into this stuff and deep dive. And I'm not saying maybe you guys don't, but I don't feel comfortable having a huge take after, even like Jordan Morgan, right? Even Jordan Morgan, who I watched a bunch of, when I thought that Jordan Morgan might be the guy I watched even more of, I was mostly underwhelmed by the tape when I watched him. Even I have a hard time when they take him in the first round. I can still understand it. I easily can understand what they're thinking in that process. We don't know so much of it. We can watch, even a lot of you guys, I'm sure, maybe hopping on some of the highlights and things like that, maybe some clips on Twitter, but there is so much film out there. There's so much practice tape. There's so much analytics. There's the medical evaluation. There's the personality evaluation. There is so much that goes into this that even myself, even somebody who watched a bunch of Jordan Morgan, all 22, that's done this for a while, I'm not willing to jump to any conclusions and say, bust, what is Goody thinking? What the hell are wrong with these people? And I'll say one more time, I get being passionate about all this stuff. Totally understand it. The part of the fun, like the draft is basically like a game that we're watching in real time, right? In a game, we're cheering the interceptions that the defense gets and booing when they give up a big touchdown. We all develop some certain crushes on draft guys that we like and are disappointed when there's some guys that we don't like that get selected. And in real time, we're sort of cheering for certain guys. And when they don't get them, we're not happy. It's like a game that we're watching in real time. So I fully understand the passion of why didn't they take Jaden Hicks over Evan Williams? Trust me, I'm just as confused as you are. I would have liked Jaden Hicks there a ton. I think it would have been a home run pick. I think TJ Tampa would have been a home run pick. I think Jalen Wright would have been a home run pick. But I haven't even seen much of Evan Williams other than the little breakdown that we just did. And to jump to any conclusions based off of anything at this point, I think is super over aggressive. But let's just wait and see. And like I said, it's one thing too, as we go through these entire deep dives that we're going to go through in the next couple of days and watch all the tape and see what were the strengths, what were the weaknesses, and then how do you accentuate those strengths, and then how do you mitigate those weaknesses? Green Bay might look at Evan Williams, for example. I don't know if this is the case, but Green Bay might look at Evan Williams and say, man, Oregon used him entirely wrong. If they would have done this with Evan Williams, he would have been a second-round pick. And they could have that feel, based on just how the player was used incorrectly and that they're going to use him different and they're going to be able to unlock something. There's so much that goes into this where they're going into a new scheme with a new coaching staff. How many times in the NFL when a team gets somebody from another team, we say, Andre Dillard. How many people are excited about Andre Dillard, former first-round pick? Because a lot of people just say he needs a new coaching staff and a new, a new change of scenery. Some of these college kids are going to get a new coaching staff. They're going to get a change of scenery, a new coat of paint, a new defense. They're going to be able to do something a little bit different in the NFL than they were asked to do in college. So there is so much projection that goes into this. And the draft is an inexact science. And I promise you, I will absolutely promise you, if you want one guaranteed draft take in this draft, there's going to be somebody that you love in this draft. Whether it's Edgerrin Cooper, maybe they take somebody later in the 5th round that you love, whether it's Javon Bullard, whomever it might be, there's going to be somebody that, or maybe it's somebody for another team. Maybe it's Cooper DeJean. There's going to be somebody that you loved in this draft that absolutely effing blows. And there will be somebody undoubtedly that the Packers take in the 4th or 5th round, a TJ Hopper or Evan Williams or some guy they took in the 7th round that you're like, what the hell is Goody doing? And he becomes really, a Packer Hall of Famer or one of the, like those guys that plays 8 years and plays really well for Green Bay. It's such an inexact science. So I get the passion of it. I get getting excited about types that you like. I get being disappointed when they go a little bit crazy and off the board, but let's let this simmer and marinate just a hot second. As Tony Pauline always says, the draft is not the end of the draft process. The draft is just the beginning of the draft process. It is not that you draft one of these players and then that's who they are as a player. This is them drafting a player and now you acclimating them into your system, seeing how you can accentuate those strengths, mitigate those weaknesses, and seeing what they can become in the NFL. And like I said, there are going to be 4th, 5th, 6th round, 7th round picks that we never heard of that are going to become stars. I mean, look at Tom Brady, Brock Purdy. We can go on and on at every position. Donald Driver, so on and so forth. So many of Green Bay's success stories have come from day 3 in the draft. A lot of guys that, people didn't even know ahead of time or weren't maybe super excited about the pick. And a lot of guys, Josh Jackson, that people were in love with when they drafted him, went on to become some of the biggest busts on the team. So let's give it a hot second. Let's give Goody a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But I understand, again, the passion of wanting somebody like a Jaden Hicks in this spot, maybe a Malik Mustafa, maybe a different position. TJ Tampa, another one, especially when it's leaked that TJ Tampa is the pick. But it is what it is. All right, friends, I'm going to head out. That is going to do it for live draft parties for me. I will do immediately following the draft a live Q&A to break everything down for Pack a Day Podcast YouTube members. So if you've not yet, Bears took a punter for Chicago in all of their limited picks. They take a punter. Amazing way to end the draft stream. Torrey Taylor, Iowa, goes to the Chicago Bears. What would you have rather had, Torrey Taylor or safety Evan Williams? At least they didn't grab a punter in the 4th round, guys. But appreciate you guys a ton. Like the feed, subscribe if you haven't already. Looking to becoming a Pack a Day Podcast YouTube member. Like I said, I'll be back right after the draft with a live members only Q&A. I'm sure we'll be back soon chatting before you know it. Really appreciate all of you guys coming out to these draft shows this entire weekend. You're the absolute best people in the world. Thank you for all the support. I will talk to you guys soon, but until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.